Welcome to Super Simple Security Principles. I'm Nick Jackson, and I want to love computers. They don't love me back. I'm learning how to stay safe online from my good buddy and master guardian, Makani Mason. Woo! He wrote his first computer program at the age of 6, sealing his fate as a computer geek. That's it. He knows his stuff, folks. Now he spends his time teaching people like me and you how to stay ahead of the digital threats we face and those bad guys. He keeps it simple and we love it. Learn along with me each week. I'll ask the questions and make sure he keeps it super relevant and super simple for us. If I can do it, you can do it too. All right, this is episode 65, 4 strategies to picking your priorities. Okay, so here are the questions we're going to be answering in today's episode. But before we ask them, I want to tell our listeners a little bit of information. I want to give them the backstory. Okay, I literally have been waiting for this episode. I honestly thought our master guardian would make this episode number 1 of our podcast. I thought this was going to be our very, very first episode. I've had to wait 64 episodes. 64 episodes for you to finally ask these questions. So it's with great enthusiasm that I'm going to announce today's questions. We're going to talk about today's questions. These were super valuable to me. This is one of the first things that our Master Guardian sat down and taught me. Like I still remember our phone call, you telling me about this project, and you teaching me what this was about, and it was very, very meaningful. Opened up my eyes to a lot of things. So I am incredibly excited for our listeners to hear this because, as you'll know, this is the foundation of who we are, our formulas, and our strategies for success. So with no further introduction needed, our questions for today are: what is the 4P formula? This is our Master Guardian's formula. What is the 4P formula? What are the 4 strategies for picking your priorities? Okay, 4 strategies you could implement for prioritizing your security. What is the theme for our new series of episodes? I'm excited. And then, how many episodes do you think it will take Makani to finish it? Years. That's my guess. My guess is this is going to be a series that goes on for a long time. Let's see, we've had a 10 episode series already, so I'm going to say 20.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Where do we get started today, man? I'm pumped for this one. Like I said, you've held me in waiting for years.
Well, that's funny, because I hadn't ever heard that from you before. I mean, I know you were super excited when we first talked about the 4P formula. So I'll tell you this in terms of why it's taken this long is because, when we started this, when we, first kind of really officially talked about this, in April 2023.
Yeah.
And, and been building and experimenting and doing things ever since then. And the thing is, like, I knew how to stay safe, right? I'd been practicing myself, but turning that into a system that is, accessible to just everyday people, first of all, but not only that, not just accessible, but like efficient and, speedy, because people aren't going to do it if it's going to take them a lifetime, or even years. Like, it's got to be fast.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, if this is going to get adopted, if this is going to get widely used and actually help a lot of people, we've really got to streamline it. We got to build all the right tools, all the right pieces. And, we've been kind of practicing, exploring, learning how to teach all the right pieces. And I've been, in between working on all these pieces the last, 2 years, 2+ years now. And, and as you know, in some ways long before that, when I first did a class, anyway, years before that, but really in earnest these last 2 years. And so I've just learned it. I mean, it just takes a while. Like, and I'm still got a lot of pieces to really figure out exactly, but it's coming together. I've got every week a clearer vision of what it's going to be like. So anyway, sorry to make you wait so long, but it's coming along. So yeah.
Look, we're excited. I've known for a couple years, so the good news is we didn't string our listeners along that long. This is going to be the first time they hear about it. So yeah.
Well, and so here's how I'd kind of characterize where we stand now at episode 65.
Okay.
We've issued a lot of calls to action. We've talked about a lot of layers of protection, and it's all really good stuff, but it also definitely creates a problem for our listeners as well. A good problem, right? But still one that we want to help them solve, and that is answering the question, where to begin? Or, obviously a lot of them have already done things, so, what to do next.
Yep.
And as you know, kind of the overall vision, and one of the pieces that helps us answer that is what we talked about, and we haven't talked about in the podcast for a while, but is the 4P formula. And, I'll probably need to do a whole episode just on that, but just really quick recap, the 4Ps are principles, priorities, plan, and protect. And, obviously we named the podcast after that first P, principles, right?
Yep.
And for anyone who's been with us for a while, they've learned a lot of good principles here.
Yeah.
And just like with you, you didn't know about the domain registrar like we talked about in last week. Sometimes just some basic knowledge, awareness, principles, that's a good first step.
Yeah.
And so today we want to kind of introduce a little bit more about the second P, priorities, because once you have some basic knowledge, then one of the next steps in is really picking, where you want to focus your time and attention.
Yeah.
And, obviously my role as Master Guardian is to help you in this process. But in the end, the priorities is really up to you, what you feel like is worth spending time on, because you're the one who's going to be putting in that time and effort, money, obviously in some cases, energy, and it's got to be in alignment with whatever is really important to you, not me.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of ways. So one of the ways I'm going to help guide through this process is to give you 4 strategies for picking your priorities. And then after we go through those 4, then we'll, and there's a little bit different, but we're going to take a few extra minutes. Normally you give them a little teaser of the next episode, but after we cover these, I want to spend just a couple minutes introducing the rest of this series, how that's going to work.
That sounds great.
Because in case it's unclear, this episode is, the very first episode of this series of series.
Yep.
So, okay. So strategy number 1 is to pick your priorities based on activity.
Okay.
This could be just anything you spend a lot of time doing, because obviously the more you do it, the more opportunities there are for something to go wrong, for you to be hacked, whatever.
So for example, here's a...
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Here's an example. I spend a lot of time on my phone, completely different than how my wife does.
Right.
My wife has social media accounts, as you know. I don't have them,
Yep.
And so that's why this is important, because we're identifying where we spend our time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one option, right? So
Right.
like you could choose to, what you want to work on first, what you want to work on next is just based on what you do a lot of. Or another, and I put this under the same umbrella of activity. That's my one word description. Is it's something that you might avoid doing. I've had this as well because you're too afraid to do it, that you'll get hacked or you'll mess something up. I've had people who there's something they want to do, but they don't know, they don't feel like they know how to do it safely or privately or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is actually one of my favorites because it really opens, like, this is not only keeping you safer, but kind of opening up your world a little bit by helping you conquer that fear because you know that you'll be able to do it safely, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
It could
That's a
also
great way
be,
to start too. Something you're not doing because you're scared. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Another one I got from some people is that, you know, might be something you do, but you're a bit anxious or nervous doing.
Yeah.
And the most common one I get on this one is shopping online, or even sometimes just browsing the web, checking your email, clicking the wrong thing in your email, you know?
Yep.
So any activity that, you know, kind of weighs on your mind is also a great place to start.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's one place you could start with is activity.
Okay.
The second one, number 2, thank you. I was waiting for the finger. Is by threat.
Ah.
Okay, so this could be, you've heard of, you know, phishing, and you know this is a
Mm-hmm.
super common one, and but maybe you don't know exactly what it is, or maybe you even do know exactly what it is, but you're not really sure how well protected you are from it. Now, obviously, you'd get some input from someone like me um, uh, about this as well, because, or you could, excuse me, like you could say, well, what threats do you think are most relevant for me in my life situation? Because, for example, you know, and we've talked about this one a number of times, some are job specific, like realtors.
Yeah.
You know, there's some very specific scams that get pulled on, you know, realtors and their customers, you know,
Yep.
during the mortgage process. So there may be specific threats that either you aren't aware of at all that I might know about, or you know of, but you're not sure all the best ways. You want to be absolutely sure. Like most realtors these days probably know about these scams, but they want to be sure that they have all the best protection they can get, right?
Yeah.
So, um, you know, and of course, anyone who works from home has some extra threats that they face.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you've heard of, you know, computer viruses, ransomware, data breaches. I get a lot of questions about, okay, well, if my data is found in a data breach, what do I do about it? You know, and how do I
Mm-hmm.
protect myself against about it? And so, you know, again, any threat that you're worried about and motivated to take action to protect yourself against is a great place to start as well.
Okay. I like it. That's a great place to start.
Yeah. Right. And, well, you know, and so a lot of these, this is a choose your own adventure because there's going to be a lot of overlap between a lot of these things. And so, you know, obviously I can weigh in and consult with you and give you my input, but, you know, sometimes it's just like there's so many things, just, you know, what calls to you the most, right? And these are just a few ways to think about it and consider, okay, oh yeah, maybe that's what I want to do. So anyway, we got 2
Right.
more though. Number
Right.
3, value.
Yeah.
This is looking at what you care most about protecting. This
Yeah.
could be your phone. You want to make sure it stays safe and private. This could be the money in your bank account or your retirement funds. Or maybe you're an author like my sister and you're writing a book and you want to make sure nobody steals it.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a little more broad. It could just be keeping your information and your communications from being spied on.
Yeah.
Or I know some of our listeners, this one, you know, keeping your kids safe on your home network.
That's really big to some of our listeners. Really big.
Yep, exactly. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say about value. So
Okay.
then number 4 is speed, speed slash efficiency, right? Like you want to keep, all your stuff safe, but especially your most important stuff. You want to kind of protect against all the threats.
Right.
But what you really care most about is doing it quickly. Right? Like if you prioritize,
Right.
if you choose this option, speed, this is what you're prioritizing. Like life's already too busy. Yeah, I want to do all that stuff, but I want the low hanging fruit. I want the
Right.
biggest bang for my buck. I want the 80-20 kind of approach.
Right.
These kind of ideas, right?
Right. Right.
And this is obviously a common one, right? I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, yes, that's me. Because
Right.
I've
Right.
talked to a lot of people and that's exactly their boat in. They don't even really know. They haven't anyway. So that's a valid one. But I've had a lot of people in some of the other categories as well. They've had a problem being hacked with a particular thing in the past. I didn't even think about mentioning that. Or they know someone who did. And so that's really near and dear to their heart.
Yeah.
That's obviously under the threat category. So anyway, there's a lot of ways to go. Just depends on whatever is going to get you to take action. That's how you want to think about it.
Right. Well, and I'm going to interrupt here
Please.
as I look at it, right now we just wrapped up our second question. We just wrapped up what are the 4 strategies for picking your priorities. Okay.
Yep.
And this is what I wanted to highlight. And this is why this resonated with me years ago. As you know, my background a little bit is in the financial world, right? I work in the financial world. I've spent a lot of time there. Anyways, what I would do is I would completely do some customizations for my clientele. Completely tailor it to their needs, their wants, what their priorities were, etc. Right? I dealt with a different clientele base. I still do, or did. And so when you shared this with me, what this really captivated my mind is this is a way to tailor your security to you. It is going to be tailored to work for you because we are identifying your needs, your wants, and what are priorities. Not only that, what are you afraid of? What do you need? What do you want to do? Like, this is a way to truly safeguard yourselves on a very personal level, not a blanketed recommendation. This isn't go get this and you'll be safe, because we know that doesn't work. But a tailored plan does. Tailored approach works. Clothes that are tailored for you fit you better. It's that simple. So, enough said for me. Let's move on,
Yeah.
man. You ready for the theme of our new series?
Almost right. So I want to.
Almost. Sorry, my bad.
I want to.
I'm stealing your
No,
thunder.
I just want to build on because I really loved your thoughts there, and because it's definitely one of the things that I've kind of struggled with is this notion of, so we want to have things as pre-built as possible so people can kind of sink their like see what it's about and what it's going to do, right? But
Right.
balance that with this tailoring, this personalization, right?
Right.
And so this is one of the pieces of the strategy of balancing those in all the right ways.
Right.
And we'll be exploring this more in the series, so we'll definitely be coming back to this topic. But definitely one of the themes is not only speed and efficiency, but customization and flexibility. Anyway, there's interesting ways you can combine that, but definitely picking your priorities and think these things as a way that we can kind of take almost at least somewhat off the shelf. And what we'll talk about is security stacks. We're going to be talking about, spoiler alert, in next episode, and then combine different security stacks based on your needs that then we can reuse these smaller pieces to put them together in a way to make it quick and easy, so to speak, but still tailored for you, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Oh, absolutely.
You know
Makes total sense. Total sense.
So,
There were
and there will still
certain
be, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
in that financial world, there were certain things that I would recommend, or certain stocks, whatever, that I would recommend to one person only, right? And then there were other times to where there were stocks that I really liked that I would recommend to multiple people to be able to use in a variety of ways. And so that's what these stacks do, is they help you grab some of those things. And
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
love it.
exactly. Okay, now I'm ready to talk about the series of series.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
I was really expecting I was going to get more like harassment from you on this, like talk about a series of series.
Dude,
You
you've
know,
been dangling me for 2 years on this. I'm
well,
ready to dive in, man. I've been waiting to get at this.
yeah, well, maybe that right. That was where your brain was. I was thinking you were going to harass me out calling it a series of series, you know, because we've got a series, you know, just the because
A
it's kind of
series of
like
series. That doesn't
awkward, you know.
surprise me. That just fits into Makani, our master guardian, man. Like it.
Fair enough. You just know me too well already, so that's fair. That's fair. Uh, so the focus of the series really boils down to answering the question that we talked about of, you know, what to do next.
Yeah.
And of course, answering that question over and over all along the way. Or put another way, building your personal security plan. And I think that's how, you know, kind of the official, unofficial title is, I think of it as.
Yeah.
And here's kind of the current vision. Now, obviously, as all my series go, and this one even more just because it's even bigger scope, some of this is going to change. So don't, you know, take this as written in stone or anything, but just to give you kind of a where my vision is on it right now. Um, probably five, well, probably six actually, I think, but five at least. And anyway, six series within the overall series. Okay.
Okay.
And the first series is introducing the basic components of a security plan, right?
Nice. Security
We
plan and
started,
basic components.
yep, and we started today with, you know, the priorities.
Yep.
And next week we're going to be talking about, sorry to steal your thunder just slightly, but it kind of fits in here, is security stacks. Um, and then the second series, and series 2 through 5, will each be a series where we build a basic security plan based on each of the 4 strategies that we discussed today.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
So really give just examples of how that works, and you know, and I suspect all of them will be ones that will, you know, maybe not all of our listeners, obviously, for each one, but um, potentially be interest of, you know, ones that'll be very directly applicable for some subset of our listeners, anyway.
Yeah.
And then I suspect, anyway, as we work through that, I'll probably end up wanting, you know, like a wrap up series to tie some things together. Um, anyway, we'll see how it plays out. But
Sounds good.
so then, if we do a little math about how many, and again, this is way more guesswork, but I'm guessing each of the like the strategy, the priority strategy series 2 through 5 will be around, I don't know, 4 to 8 episodes long. So yeah, right. All told, we're looking at, you know, somewhere 25 to 35 episodes. So that's the rest
Man,
of
I was way
2025.
off. I said 20. I
Yeah.
want to change my
Oh,
guess. I'm going to say 40.
right. Okay. Now that you get a little more context of what it's looking
Yep.
like, that's fair. You can change your guess. Yeah. Right. So I mean, easily the rest of 2025. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that one I think is a safe bet by anybody's measure. But yeah. Anyway, so that's it. I'm just, I mean, like I told you before we recorded, you know, I'm more excited about this episode than any, because I feel like it's just a culmination of, you know, or at least the beginning of the culmination, so to speak, whatever, of a lot of things coming together, you know.
Right.
And I couldn't build all this 2 years ago, right?
Right.
But, made a lot of progress, learned a lot of things, figured a lot of things out, and still have some more things to figure out. But we made a long way, and it's going to be awesome, man. So awesome. Really give people a lot of good tools, and it's all going to be, anyway.
This is going to be totally awesome because for our listeners, we have a wide variety of listeners. First, shout out to, we have had multiple people asked to come on our show, multiple experts. Shout out to those experts that are listening to us. That means a lot that you'd be willing to listen to us. But also this is who I'm going to speak to real quickly, the listeners like me, the listeners that really don't understand the security blocks and the security tools and all that's available to us. And this is a way that what our Master Guardian has done for you is he has created a way to create a tailored, customized security plan for you and implement it, and to be able to ask yourself, okay, what's going to be next? How do I do this? And very simple steps and simple principles. And again, it's completely customized to you. So this is why I'm super excited, because for those of us that really don't get it, this is going to be what you've been waiting for. So please tune in, especially the rest of this year. We're going to be, giving you some great stuff. That said, I also want you checking out our website, because we've got some things coming in the pipeline that are going to be really, really cool as well. So,
yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
All right. Do I need to tease them too much? Like, we've already teased them a lot. Like, our next episode, we're going to be talking about the major building blocks of your personal security plan, security stacks. And we'll explain that. We'll keep it super simple. But this is going to be bread and butter. This is going to be your meat and potatoes. Like, this is it. Come prepared. It's going to be super easy, but you're going to love it. And it's really going to be built for you.
Yeah. And I do have a call to action, though. You skipped that section.
Holy crap. What was I doing, man? My bad.
I'm surprised.
I know, right?
Worry.
Like,
I know. I got all my notes, so I get it's easier for me to make sure I don't ever forget anything because I got all my notes.
Keep in mind, you've been making me wait for this for a long time, so that's why I'm so anxious to get into these episodes. So, okay.
Yeah.
For our listeners, especially for that faithful listener, hey, Justin, shout out to you, buddy. I know you love our call to action, so here you go. What's our call to action, Makani?
So pick one of the 4 strategies. Those are activity, threat, value, and speed. And then come share your pick on the forum. I haven't heard from Justin on the forum yet, so I'd especially love to hear from him.
Yeah.
And as always, of course, if you have questions about the the strategies or your pick or want some input, whatever, come to the forum too.
Yeah.
And be happy to discuss it with anyone listening. So there you go.
Awesome. Love it, dude. Woo!
Oh yeah, man.
Here we go.
Hey.
It's about time.
Amen.
That was a good episode. You ready?
Yeah. Are you ready to take action and wondering where to start? Get my Bulletproof My Identity Starter Kit for free. The 7 most vital layers of protection everyone needs. I'll send you one step at a time and help you if you get stuck. Just go to bulletproofmyid.com and enter your name and email, and I will send you the first step. Again, that's bulletproofmyid.com.